myself busy. I ran around in circles, think I made myself dizzy.
So actually, real quick before we start, well, I think I did it with you last season, possibly. I don't know, but I wanted to start just kind of starting my show with my song bowl,
Okay.
kind of get the vibes, clear it out.
I love it.
Yes. So go ahead and. Whew. Okay.
That always feels so good.
Yes.
Like
yes.
I need to
love
look
it.
at how that affects us. Like it feels so good. Like you just
Yeah.
did 5 minutes of deep breathing or something.
I know it's something with tones and frequency and all that, but um, but yes. Welcome back, love.
Thanks.
Yes. Welcome back to Love Journal overall, everybody, because season 3, which is kind of nuts. Because again, I just started this off on some I don't even know, just trying some shit, and
Yeah.
it's been a journey.
Mhm.
um, I do want to start off doing another thing because when I first started the show, um, I had noticed at that time of my life I couldn't listen to love songs because I was kind of going through some things. So like something to play, and I was like, man, fuck that shit. Like, all that love shit, fuck all that. But I'm able to kind of listen to those again and not have those like it. I might have a moment sometime. I'm like, I roll my eyes or something, but like I'm not angry at love anymore.
Good.
And I noticed that came from doing this.
Mhm.
So I want to do a love song of the week. I'll start off like that, and then we dive into. So my love song of the week this week, one of my favorite Michael Jackson songs, "Heaven Can Wait." So beautiful. The harmonies, first off, are just otherworldly. Like I don't
Yeah.
know what the
Yeah.
and then just the lyrical content. Like you're literally saying, I can't die yet. Like, please don't take
Mhm.
me. I love this
Mhm.
person so much I have to be here with them.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Beautiful.
So yes. Do you have maybe a love song of the week? Just anything that comes to mind?
I love your choice, and I'll stay with Michael Jackson. I'll say "Lady in My Life."
Ooh, yeah. Classic.
That's
Classic.
always one that gets me too. I love that song.
Yes, I love. Okay. Shout out MJ then.
Yep.
So today I wanted to do healing and accountability. I feel like I almost should flip them around because you can't heal without taking accountability. Um,
I think you can. I think sometimes you need to heal a
ooh,
little bit for you to
okay.
realize you're wrong, so that you can be accountable for it. Because
Mm.
sometimes if you haven't
Okay,
healed through
yeah,
that, you're gonna
yeah.
keep blaming the other person. You'll never get there.
Ooh, okay, yeah. So then, I mean, essentially, almost they're interchangeable in a way. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. If
mm,
you're
okay.
healing, you're definitely going to have to take a hold of what part you played. Even if the part is just that you keep picking the same kind of person, expecting something different.
Yeah, that's if not you gotta take the accountability, be like, okay, like wait a minute now. Shit. Um so I mean, yeah, I wanted to do this one because I'm healing some stuff. I don't think you ever stop, but sometimes you
Mhm.
might come across some things that are taking a little bit longer or maybe a little more difficult.
Yeah.
Um and one of the things that I'm healing from is a very long friendship that crossed some lines. Um and I eventually found myself falling in love. It's part of one of the situations that made me start the show in general. um, but it finally ended essentially. I'm just kind of like less. It was like 15 years, so it was like okay, now I need to like this needs to
Yeah.
stop before it gets worse for me.
Mhm.
And basically like is somebody that's in my friend group. So it's very difficult to avoid in a sense that, like, when you kind of stop those relationships, you don't see them no more, you talk to them more, they're out of
Out
your,
of sight, out of mind. Hmm.
I kind of have to deal with it sometimes because, like, I can't just be like, y'all, like, just for example, we have a group chat and it's like,
Okay. Why did it have to end?
um, because I mean, it probably should have ended a long time ago. If I'm being honest, I don't think that we are good for each other.
But are you good
Honestly, it is a
friends?
bit. That was my best friend.
So
Um,
you're good at being friends, but not good at dating. So you have a foundation and a reason to keep this person in your life.
so no, no, no. But that's not even to. There's actually it's. I don't even think that we've had good friend moments, but I'm not even sure we've been good friends to each other.
Ah, okay.
I've for years it's different things, and we never officially like dated or anything, but we've messed around throughout the years. Um, and there's been moments where people have been like, that's not really a friend, or he don't really care about you like that. You need to watch out, like, just so many different things. Like, you're just his sidekick kind of thing. And I just always have been like fighting these things, but then having them kind of slap me in the face, if that makes sense.
Mhm, mhm.
And I'm not anybody's saint because I definitely have done some things and that I look back on, I said some shit and I'll be like, nigga, did you really? But a lot of my shit is reactionary,
Yeah,
unfortunately. So to hand that back is like you've still done and said things that even friends shouldn't do to other friends.
yeah,
That has, so it's like I've reached a point where it was just like I realized maybe some of these people have been right. My mom has always told me if one person say something, okay, whatever. Two people, take a little grain of salt, but don't, keep it in the back of your mind. Three, four, five, six, it's something there.
yeah.
There's
It's some
something to
smoke
that.
there. Yeah.
And it's one of those things that it's not like this has all been at one time. This has been things that I've been told throughout the years.
Okay.
And once you start, I think, changing and growing, you can't really just let yourself do certain shit no more.
Hmm. Absolutely. Amen.
and, and like I turned like a lot of, I don't know, it's weird. Turning 30 is just like something just clicks.
Yes, as it should with every 10 years. And you'll do it again when you're 40 and 50
Hmm.
and so forth.
That makes sense. Because I look
Mhm.
at my 20s now and it's almost just like teenage years part two.
Yes, and that's what they're
You're
supposed to be.
still,
Nobody's
yeah,
supposed to be ready for the world in their 20s. You should be
yeah.
making steps to try to get ready. I think 30 is when you really start holding people accountable. Okay, now you grown,
Hmm.
like for real grown.
And that's it. Like it was like taking people accountable, and then taking myself, taking accountability for myself. Because I'm like, I can say, I think, in them teenage years, in your 20s, it's easy to be a victim. It's so
Hmm.
like I
Yes.
look back at times I was just like, if they did this to me and this and that, and it's not to say that some of those things didn't happen or they weren't terrible or they didn't hurt, but it's like, all right, nigga, you kind of put yourself there though, right?
Hmm. That's always the hard part. Once you can say that, you're well on your journey to accountability and healing.
Yeah, yeah.
Once you can say that. But too often, a lot of us like to stay comfortable in the victim zone. We want the pity of and
Mm,
the attention that we get
yeah.
from people and all that good stuff. And it's a safety net. I don't have to really face anything because I'm still in my mourning and my hiding and
Hmm.
mode. Once you come out of that and you say, okay, now it's time for me to say what part did I play? Now you're on your
Hmm.
grown person stuff. So now you got to face it all,
Yeah,
no matter how hard it is, no matter how much it hurts.
yeah, yeah. And so that's kind of where it is of like, because again, this was like my best friend at the same time. Of like I said, damn near. I didn't
15
officially
years?
count, but I'm pretty sure at this point that sounds very accurate because we've known each other since 10th grade.
Yeah.
So it's been damn
Yeah.
near about 15 years. So it's like I miss my friend, but at the same time, I don't think we are good for each other. So if life sees fit, okay, but based on me right now, hell no, no, no.
Okay.
And it's again difficult because we have a whole friend group that like we in group. I can't be like, or at least it almost feels petty to be like, hey guys, can we make a different group chat? Just so I cannot, or like my boundary now is just, for the most part, if it's something with the group, I'm down, but we don't have a personal relationship.
Mhm.
But it's still
Okay.
fucking hard. And that's like one of the things that kind of made me want to talk about healing a little bit. Um, have you ever even been through something related to that?
I have.
Mhm.
I think this happens a lot when you're in high school, you know. And
Fun,
I
fun.
also made a huge mistake in dating someone that I worked with. That's another setup.
I've
Because
done that one before
exactly,
too.
you got to see this person 5 days a week, 5 days a week,
Mhm.
guaranteed, and for hours and hours. Sometimes they could end up being somebody who is, assigned to sit right next to you. Sometimes
Mhm.
you or them can end up being one of y'all boss. You see what I'm saying? Or manager or supervisor. So
Yep.
for the world, I don't recommend dating someone that you work with. I really don't.
Same.
Unless y'all
Mhm.
in totally different departments that will never ever, match, and they in one building over here across the city and you in another. It just doesn't
Mhm.
work. But I have, and it was very hard at first because I was super emotional.
Yeah.
But once I started the work, I just limited my interactions. If it's too
Yeah.
hard, sometimes you may have to pull yourself out of the friend group or the group chat without saying
Mhm.
anything. Just don't check it.
Mhm.
You might like set it on silent for a week or something like that.
Mhm.
And just tell everybody, I'm taking some time for me. I'm going on a meditation trip or whatever. You don't have to say anything. And you can just lock yourself away. Try to pinpoint what it is that's bothering you. Because, see,
Mhm.
this is what, like, when I end relationships, I'm that girl who will take some time off. I've taken years off in between relationships, and I'm like, I need to heal myself before I
Mhm.
get into something with somebody else. But what you don't understand is that you can heal. Let's say you take 5 years off, you can heal all the things from memory. But once
Mhm.
you get out here and you start dating somebody else, and let's just say the last person cheated on you, and that's what you're healing from. The first time this new person disappears and they're not where they said they're going to be, you
Mhm.
want to remember exactly how I felt to be with the last person because you took the
Mhm.
time to heal
Yeah.
your memories and what happened with that person. You didn't put yourself in a new situation where you could be
Mhm.
faced with the possibility again. Now you're triggered. Now those traumas come back and you have to talk yourself off that ledge. What people fail to realize is that you still need to put yourself back out there to continue and fully heal. You got to face the possibility of it happening again. You got to face
Yeah.
a new relationship and a new, oh, he said he was going to be here at 7. It's 8:30. What's going on? Maybe his car could have broke down. He could be in a car accident. Hell, he could have
Yeah.
stopped on
Now
the
you're
side
over
of the
here
road.
tripping out.
Yeah. And,
Yeah.
and you over here, and now you're like, I thought I healed from this. You healed from the last person. This is a triggering trauma response. It's okay.
Mhm.
Talk yourself down, do some journaling, breathe, and then wait until you talk to that person and find out what it really was. And then you
Yeah.
understand, okay, now I can truly finish this healing process because I faced it again. I faltered a
Mhm.
little bit, picked myself back up, and now I'm good. And this is what you meant. I think you meant earlier when you're like, it's
Mhm.
it's going to be ongoing. It might
Yeah.
happen one more time, then you might not happen for 10 years, and it may never happen again. But it's going to be something you have to
Mhm.
work towards because you were hurt.
Yeah. Yep. And because I think the timing, like, because honestly, it's a situation. It's been a year, since like officially I was just like, you know what, let's just not, you know what I'm saying. But when you're close to somebody for that long, and I think that's what I'm kind of realizing now, and trying to like get through the grief of it.
Mhm.
Because again, best friend, we talk like most of the shit we talked about, it was just like our just pretty much anything we can talk about for the most part will only be something that each other would understand,
Mhm.
you know. Um, and so I come across shit like that like often. Like at this point, I've been able to kind of just dismiss it. But I remember, the first few months or so, it was like I was seeing something every day that was just like, oh
Yep.
damn, like I would love to
I
send
want to
this or
call.
text
I
that,
want to
like,
call. Damn, I want to text.
and it was
Yeah.
like fuck,
Do you
and
have
so
anybody else who can fill that space?
that space, no, but I don't think. I mean, I have other best friends, and
Mhm.
like the rest of the friends in that group, I'm very close to as well. But it was just a difference, um, because no matter how close I was to everybody else, there was still like a little bit closer to him, kind of thing.
But do you think that was just because of the physical
Um,
connection?
Maybe. I'm honestly, not fully sure. I mean, and that's again why I'm doing these. I have so many like revelations in the middle of the conversations. But, oh, that's why. So, um, but and I actually realized yesterday I was talking to Amron, matter of fact, and I was talking about celibacy, and I was just like, I would love a friend with benefits. Like just right now, this is where I'm at, like a friend, but like genuinely a friend. We don't always have to mess around, but the possibility is there. But like, you cross my mind when you're not around. I want to actually talk to you. And I was like,
That's
I just
dangerous,
want
friend.
that's what I basically, and I was like, what
That's
I
dangerous.
realized in that moment, I was like, I just want what I had with him again.
Yep. 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 Yep.
And I
Yep.
was like, oh shit,
Good for
that's why.
you that you came up with that. Good for you, because that's exactly it. And to be honest,
Yeah,
Troy, I think from what I know about you, you sound like a very fantastic person. I think that you should be looking for a relationship. I don't think you should be looking for somebody
Ben
that
told me
it's a
that.
fly by night type of thing. You have so much love and romance and creativity to share with the person. Why would you want to sell yourself short with somebody who doesn't really, y'all don't owe each other anything?
Yeah. I
You
think
scared?
right now, I don't know if I'm scared to hurt somebody. I'm not even scared to get
Ah,
hurt. I think because my last relationship, like 2 or 3 years ago, um, and also just that idea of bringing somebody into some shit when I got, because my ex realized like, is this something going, like something that happened between y'all or something? There's something there. I don't like this.
yeah.
But I was very selfish in the sense that for the most part, I was these past few years, I really just been focused on myself, and not like in a
Mhm.
bad way, like selfish, but like really being like, okay, who am I? What do I
Yeah.
want? What I need to do? And I found myself not really thinking and considering him as much as I should have.
Okay.
And I didn't realize that till after the relationship, he wanted to break up, and I'm like, nigga, what? You crazy? I love you. Oh my god. And and I look back over the relationship and some of the complaints he had, and I was like, oh, yeah, I wasn't thinking like,
Yeah.
so I don't know if I have the capacity for a relationship right now, and that's why
Okay. Well,
I'm like,
that's honest,
I really don't
and
want to
only
hurt
you know.
somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Um, yeah, yeah. So, another thing that I'm kind of working on healing is um later in life diagnosis or acceptance or realization of ADHD. Um, I've always joked about it. Oh no, I got ADD, whatever. But like recently something just again clicked. It's that after 30 of I think just really wanting to understand yourself.
Hmm.
And I started to really kind of study it and look into it. And I was like, oh wait, no, this has been my whole life.
Yeah.
And I thought back on being a kid. I had a brief moment of frustration with my parents, but I understand. Um,
Yeah.
Having every single teacher be like, hey, he has potential, but he don't focus, or he's really, really smart, but he talks too much, or these different things that like it'll be different. Again, like I said, if one person say it, all right, two, every single one of my teachers, and my mama just didn't. And
Well,
it's gonna be
we didn't know about that. Like, I'm
yeah.
43. I'll be 44 in December. But growing up, it took me until I had my own kids, and another parent was talking about somebody my son's age, saying her son had ADD, and then like a couple of years after that, they were like, "Well, now there's an ADHD," and I was just like, "What the fuck?" Yeah, I
What the
never
fuck y'all
heard of
talking
it.
about?
So yeah, so it's really really possible that your mother that,
Mhm,
like we didn't have that information.
mhm.
Nobody was saying these things, at least not around me. You might have had it
Yeah.
out in wherever where it was very affluent, like people were taking their kids to specialists. We didn't know nothing about that though.
Mhm. Yeah.
Not in the
And I
hood. We
think
never heard of that.
so.
And we let our kids run around till they fucking were exhausted and fell out. And then the street lights came on. We put them in the tub, fed them, and they went straight to sleep. So I don't think the kids that played outside had a chance to develop no ADD, ADHD.
Yeah. Oh, my ass was outside, but I was like, so, and I think when I think back on it, because everything you said is exactly it. But I think a part of it too with the Black community is back then, because this was back when it was acceptable to use the R word. You know what I'm saying? When people said,
Mhm,
"Oh, they retarded," stuff like that. And
mhm.
I think there was that fear of
That
something wrong. Like,
diagnosis.
oh,
Yeah.
now my kid. So if I do this, now what is he gonna be on the short bus? Is he gonna be in
Yeah.
special class? Shit like that.
Sure.
So it's like, you know what, just ignore it. Like, because I remember, but you know, that was definitely a thing back then. So it was
Mhm.
like, I think there was part of it is that fear of
Yeah.
there's a problem with my child, but what people don't understand is that it's a spectrum. And so I was actually having a conversation with my mom recently this past summer about it. One of my cousins, he has ADHD. He's like,
Mhm.
me and him are like, as far as how we act and like personality and stuff, a lot of it is like this. Like we are
Yeah.
very similar, and we grew up very similar. And he officially got diagnosed, however. And we were just talking to my mom about. She's like, I mean, but y'all are so smart. Like I'm like, that's part of it.
Oh yeah,
That's
see,
the
it's
like
just like a hyper, like you guys move at a mile a minute. Matter of
my
fact,
brain is
10 miles
always
a minute,
is
maybe. Yeah. Nothing
yeah.
to do with a loss of level of intelligence or anything like that. It's just like people treated kids with dyslexia like that. They have a different way of seeing things and learning. It doesn't make them dumb. It just, and even autistic kids, you have some kids who are socially withdrawn and don't like loud sounds, but can go and
Mhm.
compose something better than Beethoven and Mozart. Like their brain is genius in some area, and they may, be less like I said, socially aware. Like they may not want you to touch
Yeah,
them and hug them all
it's
the
a
time.
difference somewhere. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
So for me, mine was my emotional regulation. I always struggled with. So either my emotions were like just over the top, or just was like completely. I didn't give a fuck at all.
Oh
So
well,
it'd be
shit. I might
like,
need to go get tested too then, cause nah.
or like my anger, like something that should make me angry wouldn't, and then like maybe I stub my toe and I am just like so next
Beyond living.
level,
Yeah.
just like.
So it sounds like it could be
So
like a
it was
chemical
like,
imbalance, something
mhm.
similar to like
But
bipolarism, but not the same. Just that
yeah.
chemical imbalance that you can't really regulate on your own.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, so I've definitely gotten a lot better getting older, but that's kind of part of one of the I guess triggers, or not triggers, but like symptoms maybe, or
Mhm.
yeah, I guess symptoms of ADHD. So it was like, I guess what I'm healing from it is going back over life and being like, damn, what if I did get checked? What if I did
Mhm.
get this help?
Well,
Because
don't do
also,
that.
oh, go
Don't
ahead.
do that because
Mhm.
there's nothing we can do about it. We can't go back and
Yeah.
we can't change it. And when we do stuff like that, it makes it worse because then we start to go, I wonder how great I could have been. I wonder where I
Mhm.
would be in life. And your mom didn't mean it. She didn't know any better.
Mhm.
And you're here though. Who knows? If you hadn't had this, maybe we wouldn't have Love Journal. And you don't know how many people that you're touching and that you're helping to heal and move forward. You're where you're supposed to be, exactly where you're supposed to be. So we can't do the what ifs because we can't do anything about it.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. I'm getting, it's just it's very, it's a, because it doesn't necessarily make me angry. I guess it just makes me curious a bit of like,
Mhm. Just don't let yourself ruminate too long because you'll
yeah,
be
no,
to
no, no,
had
no, not at
27
all.
other lives. You keep on going and be like, man, I was going to be this. And then the next day you be this.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
it's like, no, but you are who you are. You know now. So
mhm,
what do we do moving forward?
yeah, 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 yeah,
And you
yeah.
can even find you a
And
boys
I
group or
think, but
something
you know
like
what?
to be a mentor and make
Mhm.
sure other parents understand what ADD or ADHD is and make sure they don't do the
Yeah,
same thing to their kids. That could be a part of your calling. I mean,
yeah. I do like that, like the idea of that. I mean, most of my work is in the creative artistic realm, but I do want to help in some kind of way in that fashion too. But it's not all like frustration too. I think part of it is healing other issues that came up in between, knowing that, of like not feeling good enough. I
yeah.
was able to heal that because I'm like, oh, like I've had those times, again, hearing all the time that you have potential. I literally wrote a poem about 3 years ago called The Boy Who Had Potential. Because that was like something I've always heard, but it was like,
Yeah.
and I'm like, damn, there's something wrong with me. Like something
Yeah.
wrong, like I think differently, or it's something off. And coming to understand what that
Mhm.
is such a relief of like, oh, there was nothing wrong with me. Like, I mean,
Yep.
there's something going on, but like there's nothing
Yeah.
wrong with me.
Yeah.
So a part of it is good healing, and like, the first part of just like the frustration part. But
Yeah.
I think I've gotten past that for the most part. It's just now really looking at where some of the issues I had came from, and realizing that this thing is the source.
Okay. Are you
Of being
journaling
like,
about this? Like writing about
yes,
it? Okay.
yes. Like one of the things, um, again, like my brain goes fast. So since I was a kid, and I remember being like sometimes literally looking like frustrated with people sometimes because they weren't getting it at school. I'm
Yeah,
like,
that,
hello, like, why is this
yeah.
not?
Yes.
And just little stuff like that. Like my brain has always just worked differently,
Mm-hmm.
and it'll be times where, like, I remember my brothers used to call me Dexter from Dexter's Laboratory, or like Braxton from fucking Jamie Foxx show. Like, all right,
Oh my
Braxton, like,
goodness.
and it was, partially because of that, but also what I've accepted about it is that it helps me be, like you said, who I am. Like, I
Yes.
love how my brain works. Thinking about
Yes.
it now, like I'm able to do and think in ways that other people aren't.
Yes. And we need that. Look at Stephen
Yeah,
Hawking. He was like, couldn't really do much. And he was like one of the most brilliant minds in the world.
yeah,
And he had,
yeah,
I don't know what he had, but I know he was like in that chair and had to have that machine talk for him.
yeah,
People are born the way they are born, and you got to find the magic in you. And like I said,
yeah,
you don't know how many people you're going to help, you're going to reach, how many books you're going to write because of this. There's so
mhm,
much that you can do with this along your healing journey that will also be
yeah,
helping people heal along with you. So,
yeah.
yeah.
And it's
I mean,
like,
I did that with the healing process from my childhood, wondering why I
mhm,
was born to a mother who didn't want me, who beat me all the time, who never listened to me, who never loved me, who never wanted me. And why my dad thought it was okay to abandon me, but he raised his other kids. And then I finally had to go, never going to get those answers from those people. Even if
mm,
they did give me an answer, it's not going to change anything that happened to me.
anything.
And
Yeah,
I've already become who I am living through those things. So what do I do now? I choose to be a mom and be the best mom I can be and make sure I never do to
right,
my kids what my mom did to me. I choose to, specifically the second time around, make sure I chose to procreate with a man who was going to always be here for their kids, never
yeah,
abandon me like my father did. So, and that's exactly what I did. And that's how you do it. You move along, you don't make the same mistakes, you break the cycle, you learn as you go, and you be the best version of
mhm.
you that you can.
Girl, what? See, and that kind of goes a little bit into the other part, but I just want to say with the this last part of like ADHD or whatever, it's not, a fucking walk in the park always,
Mhm.
but at sometimes I do look at it like a superpower. Like
I love it.
that's because that's honestly how it feels sometimes, and then again other times it is debilitating almost,
Yeah.
you can burn yourself out because again I'm learning more about it is
Mhm.
really just your shit is just
Yeah.
just clinging constantly, but it can become easy to become overwhelmed because of that, and you drain yourself and you get burnt out because you're using so much energy all the time.
Mhm.
So it ain't a walk in the park, but I'm at the point where I'm accepting it,
Mhm.
understanding it, and learning how to use it to my benefit when I can.
Yeah.
Um,
And also maybe write down some of your triggers or some of the things you notice when you're getting to the
mhm.
point of draining yourself. And when you notice they go, okay, this is the time where I have to
That's
stop.
smart. Yeah,
And I have to figure out what I need to do to re-energize. You have to
yeah.
stay on top of yourself with these triggers.
I love that. Yeah, I should do that because I'm not.
Mhm.
I guess I'm noticing some things too now, being older.
Mhm.
Like now, I don't really like being too crowded.
Mhm.
Growing up, and I think some of that was just trying to mask and fit in and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Um, but being in my own space, like, I'm like, I don't mind being around people and stuff. I was talking to a friend earlier. I'm like, festivals, I can't do that shit unless I'm VIP. Not no more. If I'm not getting a
I
VIP, I
feel it.
can't because the last 2 or 3 times I've gone to one, I find myself just surround and I pick up on energy really well too. So it's
Yeah. Yeah.
like
Yeah.
now I'm just I'm get
It's
me
too
out of here.
chaotic. It's too chaotic.
Get me
Yeah.
out of here.
And
And then after
it
that
triggers
Astro World
anxiety
shit,
in me. And when I'm
yeah,
anxious, you don't want to be around me. It's no bueno.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's interesting because I love discovering myself. So paying attention to ADHD and just how it's affecting me and all my different shit, I'd just be like, damn, that's crazy. That's where that came from. Like, but
Yeah, give yourself credit. Absolutely.
So you kind of went into the other thing that I'm kind of working on healing, which I don't know. I guess it bounces between, but I think it's probably the most prevalent is family shit.
Mhm.
And my family, like that's my heart. Like my mom, my dad, my brothers. We'll fight for each other in a second. Like my
And
little
then
brother
fight each other the next
he is
second.
so yes. But like my little brother, for example, he loves so fiercely. Like you know, motherfuckers, I had to call my big brother. Like, no, you ain't about. I call my little brother before I call my older brothers because that little nigga is gonna get physical. He don't play about me.
I love that. I
But
love that. What's his sign?
he's an Aries.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So
That's
we
my
don't
daughter's
really.
an Aries. They are very dangerous fire signs.
Yes, and that nigga has put a knife on somebody over me, and he was like 3. Like,
Ah!
like he don't fucking play. So, but that's just how fierce our love is. But there's also comes issues with like, so just for example, my biological father kind of
Mhm.
walked out, and I ended up getting a stepfather who was there since I was like 2 years old. So I pretty much never really missed out on having a father.
Mhm.
But the relationship that him and my mom had was so tumultuous that
Didn't
it
she
was
shoot him?
like, yeah, I told that
Yeah.
story. She totally did. Yeah, so their shit is like some lifetime shit.
Yeah.
And I grew up with that. So it was like almost a trade-off. Like you get a daddy, but your house is gonna be, you know. And so I think I'm trying to heal from a lot of different things in my family, right? Like the first one is the father thing.
Mhm.
My real dad is not real dad because I hate saying that.
Yeah, your bio
But
dad. I get it.
yes, he's been trying the past few years to have a bit of a relationship with me, which gets weird because I've been calling another nigga daddy or father, you know what I'm saying, since I was a kid. Like I don't really have anything for you almost.
But you should. Here's why. You
Mhm,
need to give that a shot only because you don't want something to happen to him and then you sit there and go, what if? Because you'll do it.
mhm,
You do it for the rest of your life. What if I would have had that? And you could just say, let's go for coffee, or let's go for lunch, or let's go for a walk in a park
right.
somewhere. I'm going to give you my attention because I have questions for you. You know, why did you leave? Where have you been?
Mhm,
Why do you want to do it now? Sometimes people come around when they get a diagnosis. Before I leave this
yeah,
earth,
yeah.
I want to, and you never know, you might sit there with him and figure out that's where you get your laugh from or your sense of humor, or hell, he might tell you he just got a recent diagnosis of ADD or
Mhm,
ADHD. So you're going to have something from this man. And it might be cool to
yeah.
kind of see where that comes from, and you might get healing from it too. And it may be a once or twice time thing. And you may decide, okay, after talking to him, but you tried, it's not going to work, or you really don't see the need. But when you walk into it, let him know I'm a grown man. So I'm telling you now, I'm not looking for a father, but as my elder, I would like to sit down and have a conversation with you. And maybe you
Mhm.
guys could form something, maybe
So
not.
that's so wild that you kind of bring that up because that's where I've been, right?
Yeah.
He did get a diagnosis in the past few years. I don't fully remember what it was, but he not doing the best kind of thing,
Mhm.
health wise anyway. Um, but I've noticed, and my mom and like my aunts, some stuff like that, have pointed out things that I did get from him that
Mhm.
had me like, huh, that's interesting. Like one of them, just like when I'm thinking, I play with my beard or like just pick my face or something. It's oh yeah, you
Mhm.
got that shit from your daddy. Just didn't pick all damn day, or just certain things, and it's like he wasn't 100% absent
Mhm.
because my mom let him like she let him have his own relationship with me. She's like, that's what I always have to appreciate about her because I've seen the baby mamas who do the fuck your daddy, that nigga ain't
Yeah.
shit. My mama never did that.
Yeah.
She was like,
Yeah.
you see, like
Exactly. Go and find out for
um,
yourself, and I'll be here.
So the first couple years of my life, he was kind of a little bit more prevalent. I had weekends sometimes and things like that. So certain days, like my love for horror, he has a bit of a hand in that.
Okay.
Because he introduced me to like Tales from the Crypt comic books and stuff like that. So I have like little bits and pieces,
Crypt
but it's
keeper.
just like so much of life. I feel like, and I'm not his only kid, so that I think helps me lessen my anger or my
Hmm.
frustration.
Hmm.
Because it's a lot of us, and we don't even
Yeah.
all know each other. Like me and my sister recently in the past year have started to build a relationship.
Oh, that's
Um,
good.
yeah, and it's interesting because we all look alike. We have different faces. It's like, but yeah. So, um, and I recently had a realization because I didn't know. Like I'm finding out my dad's uh zodiac sign at 30 something that he's a Taurus.
I don't like those people,
His
but okay, go
birthday
ahead.
is his birthday is a few weeks before mine,
Okay.
and I never it just never clicked. I guess I never really knew his birthday for
Are you a Taurus too?
whatever. Yes, May 14th.
Oh, well, that's my
Yeah.
little brother's birthday, and I love him. There are a handful of
Yeah.
Taurus
Huh.
I've come across that I like, but my mother's a Taurus, and so I think that's why I always sound like
Mm.
those people.
Well, so that's what I was going to get into. We have the capacity to be extremely selfish, and I
And
started.
stubborn and
Oh
bullheaded,
my
but so is
God,
Sagittarius.
yes,
So I think we're
yeah,
the two most stubborn signs. Well, they say Rams are too, but I just have never met
yeah.
a clash like that. My ex-husband was also a Taurus. The two people who tried
Oh
to kill me,
yeah,
Taurus. That's
yeah.
just,
Jesus,
you know.
I'm sorry. Yeah, we're not all, but like it made me understand him in a different way because at this age too people start having kids and
Mhm.
married and all
Yeah,
that stuff, and you start to pay attention and consider it yourself.
yeah,
And I was like, I realized I'm at a place I don't want to give up how I live my life or who I am, like, because it's a choice and your life does change. And I
yes,
thought about it, just immediately clicked with my daddy, like, oh.
yeah. Sometimes
He was
people
like,
don't
I
figure
don't
that out
want
until they
to.
already create the kids. That's the problem. You create the
Oh yeah, he
kids
kept
and then you
creating
reach
them.
a
It
point in
was
your life. Yeah, and then you go, well, I don't want this anymore. So it's kind of too late, but they leave anyway because they got baby mamas who they know are going to take care of the kids. So yeah,
yep, yep. And that was my dad's thing of like, I don't want to give up how I live. I'm selfish, and this is what I want to do, and I want to do it how I want to do it. I ain't
yeah,
changing shit. And I've said, because like I'm not, again, I've done my growing, but like I can see myself feeling like that. I'm like, you know what? Let's not even, because
yeah,
I'm on this path and working on this, and it helps me be like, oh. Now
yeah,
I mean, obviously there's still some frustration there because you could have
yeah.
just not had fucking 8 kids and just kept,
That's why you should ask him.
you know.
Have that conversation
Um,
and ask him, especially if there's a chance he's gonna be leaving here soon. You do that for you and your spiritual health, and you also sometimes I think about it in a real petty way, and God forgive me. But sometimes I just want to go show them how much of a better person I am than they are. It's petty, I know, but I'm going to give you grace
yeah,
and allow you this conversation or allow you this
hmm,
audience with me so you can see the fantasticalness you missed out
yeah,
on,
yeah,
and then
yeah,
decide if whether or not this is something I want to do. But at least I talked to you. At least I told you that I
yeah.
forgive you and let you get to know a little bit about me. I got to know a little bit about you, and then we can go on. Or you might find that he's changed or he's trying to, he's repentant, and
Hmm,
you guys form some kind of relationship for the rest of the time that he's here.
hmm. And that's another part too. Is like currently he's kind of mostly trying to have a relationship with me, and it makes me feel weird with my
And is he
siblings.
the daddy
Like,
of any of the other people that your other like 5 siblings you grew up with?
no, no.
Okay.
Um, Ironically, I think he is one of their god dads. Eh, Anyway, woo. But like my sister, they are just at this point not gonna. They
Yeah.
just don't mesh. Um, and so when I talk to her, sometimes I'm like, nah, I'm put it back. I don't even want to be like, hey,
Yeah.
this nigga done bought me
At
this
least you
random
try
ass
again.
thing.
If you try and
Yeah,
it's not for you, keep it moving. But it's the
Yeah,
what if. I don't
that's
like
true.
to wonder what if I would have just what would have happened. I don't like to do that to
Yeah,
myself.
I feel that. So I mean, the other half of that, again, I said like how it's like, okay, one daddy walk away, now you get this daddy, but with that, I'm healing, accepting that my parents' relationship was never mine.
Mm,
Um,
mm,
and I love them both, love them to death, but they made their relationship ours
yeah.
because there was never a moment of let's not do this around the kids.
Yes.
It was like y'all right here, shit. Let's get all the way into it, and you. I remember times as a kid, like I recently in these past few years started back, or I don't know, started back. Maybe I had them when I was younger, but either way, having kind of like nightmares of
Yeah, I
some of
remember
those
you telling me
events.
about those. Yeah.
Yeah. And I remember times as a kid, as a little boy, you always want to protect your mom, you know what I'm saying, no
Hmm.
matter what, anyway. And I recall having moments where I feel like I couldn't.
Yeah.
And it was
I
nothing
mean,
I
you were
can
a
do, and you feel
baby.
hopeless. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And you feel hopeless in those moments. And so it's like trying to, like, when I have those dreams, sometimes I feel like that again. Like, I feel like a kid. I don't feel like adult grown as me. I feel like I'm a little kid and I'm rewatching these moments. Um, and
Mm.
so there's frustration towards my stepfather or my dad, um, from his selfishness, because his selfishness comes from something else. His selfishness comes from liquor,
Mm.
being an alcoholic.
Mm-mm-mm. My
So
dad is one of
it's
those as
like,
well.
yeah, and unfortunately, getting older, and I think that's what brought some of that frustration back, is he's getting worse the way that
Mm.
he drinks,
Is he still with your mom?
and I'm just
Oh Lord,
no, yes and no. And that's another part too. I
it's
love, and
complicated.
I try to stay out of married people's business, but we've been hearing
Hmm.
about divorce papers since we were in like high school. So it was, I'm like, all right, girl, if I hear about these papers again, she'll be, yeah, because I'm signing these. So, all right, sure.
Are you in therapy with a psychologist or a therapist, or is this just a journey you're taking yourself?
It's a journey I'm taking myself, but I wouldn't necessarily have a problem with um having a therapist, but I do like, I actually like journaling and kind of going through some of this myself. So, but I
I
wouldn't have a
think
problem with it.
my suggestion would
Mm,
be to go to a therapist for the childhood trauma.
yeah,
That is where I started. And then I was able to branch out and understand and apply the things that I learned in that for those situations to other things, like how to stop
yeah,
myself from ruminating, how to do mindful thinking and things like that. I don't care if you just go
mm,
once a month. It's really good to have somebody explain to you how a dream can quickly revert you back to a child when you're fully aware that you are an adult,
yeah,
because that is a thing. I used to deal with that too. I couldn't be in a room with my mother. Now, I mean, this is not a brag, but I'll beat the brakes off my mom if she ever tried that shit with me today. Okay,
okay,
you're not. This ain't
period,
that. This ain't that. But
yeah,
because of my grandmother and the Bible, I have never, actively, whoo, I wanted to sometimes though. But she would come into the room sometimes, and that 3-year-old or 5-year-old me, I would feel her, and I would just have to go. I couldn't breathe. I wanted to
yeah,
cry, and I would be shaking. And I would be, and
mhm,
it took like me looking in the mirror to go, you are okay. She cannot hurt you anymore. Like I
mhm,
literally reverted back to a child. And that was when, okay, I gotta go to therapy because I'm not handling this like I thought. All I did was kick her out of my life. So out of sight, out of mind, you
yeah,
think you can fix something. But as soon as she come through a door, you've lost it. And so that's where I went
mhm,
and I said, okay, I need somebody to help me dive into the shit I don't remember, the traumas that are easily triggered by other things that I don't even know why I'm hurt or sad or scared or anxious. And then when I did and we had conversations, they would ask the right questions. And I would relax. If this is no hypnosis, but you just relax and they would
yeah,
say, walk me through something. And they would ask certain questions and these memories will come back. And then I'm like,
yeah.
oh, and then you put two and two together. So I would suggest it for that, if nothing else.
I like that. Yeah. And you brought a part up for me too of like that was also some of the thing of like I had to. It's part of why I'm I pick up on people's energy, and I'm as empathic as I am, and I can do some of these conversations with people and really relate and all that, because I also like the nickname that my family has for me is I'm the balance. Um, but it was because I always had to monitor everybody's emotions. I was like
Mhm.
constantly, because like I think I've said that before. We could have a good, amazing day, outstanding
Mhm.
day, and it'll end like a fucking horror movie. Like,
Yeah.
and it's like that time in between. It's like, well, what the fuck
What
happened?
happened?
And
Yes.
it's like I had so many times where I had to be the like I had to be the calm, I had to be the balance, I had to. Oh wait, this person like they starting to get a little agitated. Hey,
Agitated.
hey, let's
Mhm.
like, and
Reel
that's
it
not.
in.
I'm accepting now that that was never supposed to be my job.
Nope.
My family still calls me that, and I like, helping out, but that's not. I don't have to do that. That is not my
Yes.
job,
Everybody should be
and
able
it's
to
such
regulate
a
themselves.
relief to be able to accept that, because like, and I guess really the correlation between the two is like having daddy issues, kind of being looking at both of my dads and feeling like they're both selfish, and like looking at parenthood now, I'm realizing again, it's a choice. It's like a relationship. It's a choice. You
Mhm.
choose to raise this person. You choose to be with this person, and anything that kind of affects that choice kind of has to go to the wayside, essentially. So
Mhm.
I even had a moment with my dad this summer where I'm just like, is the drink more important than us? Like, god damn,
Mhm.
like, you're not choosing us.
Yeah.
And I think with just kind of, again, like I said, it's a bit of daddy issues of kind of looking at that, but also just trying to accept who they are and the choices that they've made, and that again, it has nothing to do with me.
Yeah.
It was never, my bio dad. It was never he didn't sit there and say, "No, I don't want this nigga. I don't want to be around. Fuck him.
Yeah.
He ain't shit." It was never my dad being like, you know what? It's my son or my drink. Yeah, fuck these kids. Give me that drink. It was
Right.
never a choice
That's a
in a
disease.
matter of a problem with us. Yeah, yeah. And even my bio dad, he even had a drug moment. So it's
Mhm.
like they both have had these other vices and other things that have gotten in the way, and I'm like
And there's something they're fighting
accepting.
because you don't run
Yeah,
to liquor or drugs unless you're depressed or you're
yeah,
scared or you're anxious. That's a coping thing you're using to cope or to drown out and silence whatever is wrong with you. So
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So I'm accepting it's not my job. I do think I might look into that, because that, like, for the most part, like I said, I love like discovering myself with myself,
Mhm.
but that part is a little difficult to kind of
Yeah.
get through. Like that
Yes.
parental shit, parents are fucking their kids up, and they don't be no.
Exactly.
Listen,
Exactly. And
like,
it's okay.
but they're
I
just
don't think that
people.
we were, I think the reason my daughter's in school for psychology right now because during
Hmm.
COVID, all her friends fell apart. These kids could not handle being at home and locked in the house. And when they went looking
Listen,
for
it's called
psychologists,
punishment.
when kids went looking for psychologists, there were no black female psychologists anywhere for them to talk to.
Mm,
So my daughter
mm,
decided at that moment what her major was going to be.
I love
And
that.
she's going for, she said, I never want another black, brown, or yellow tan girl, melanated child to be looking for someone that looks like them and not be able to find them. And she's on that journey.
Mm,
And we wouldn't
yeah,
have psychologists if we didn't need them. And I think there's only so much you can do when you're untrained in all of these areas. They're going to tell you to
yeah,
keep doing everything you've been doing, journaling, talking, being this show here, the active, person to person journaling, but they're also going to be able to help you break down things that you don't understand, from dream
yeah.
interpretations to traumas. That's what and get a
Mhm.
psychologist. We got so many counselors and therapists that just got bachelor degrees. I want a
Yeah.
mofo who can get into the nitty-gritty, who said, I'm going for my
Okay.
doctorate, so I know you
I mean,
take it serious.
honestly, I've been thinking about, because that was my major in college, psychology. And I've been thinking
They be
about
the
going
crazy
back.
ones.
Yeah, right. I'm telling you,
I
listen.
told my daughter that. I said, you're gonna be great and you're gonna need to find one of your own as well.
Man, I've been thinking about going back to school for it, so that's probably something I might do
Yeah.
in the next couple of years. But it's it's interesting just the whole journey, I think, and looking at
Mhm.
how your life connects, and again, just getting to the root of some of the shit. Like,
Mhm. And it's
um,
scary and it's deep and it's dark and it's
yes,
dirty. When you get up, you're
yes,
not gonna be clean. That's what people gotta understand. You're gonna
yeah,
have some faults and all of these things. Maybe not the childhood stuff because you were a child,
hmm
but how long you held on to the anger or the disappointment and the
hmm
resentment, you're gonna have some fault at your feet for that.
yeah, yeah, and I think that's what it is now that I'm facing resentment. That was perfect that you said that with my dad's. I'm
Yeah.
resenting one, not even so much for leaving, but I feel like not trying harder or something. Like, I don't know how to explain it. And then for my dad, it's just like resentment for some of them old days that you put us through. That shit's embarrassing. Having
Yeah.
police cars, now everybody like, what happened over there? Like, asking you the next day. I'm a fucking kid. I don't want to talk about this. You know,
Exactly.
um, and choosing to have your advice over us. So it's just like I'm frustrated with the male with men right now.
Yes, I feel
Um,
it. But your mom had some blame in there
and
too, because she could have left. She
yeah,
could have kicked him
yeah,
out. She did a lot of
yeah,
things.
so yeah, I'll say that. I think it was always harder, but I have started to. I've noticed as I got older, it wasn't always my dad too. Like, as
Mhm.
a kid, it's just that's all you really see is the one who's explosive. But then as
Yeah.
I got older, I started noticing like, oh, girl, some of this is your shit. Some of this is your shit.
Yes. It's
So I
usually
do
never
have
one
some of that.
person. Yeah.
Yeah. So I do have some of that frustration with her, but that, like I said, divorce papers we've been hearing about since
Yeah.
I was in fucking I was learning multiplication, which yeah, I'm a divorce. Like, all right, sure. So I just be like, all right, thumbs up.
Yep. Whatever
Yes,
y'all
you
gonna
got
do.
it. Um but um my frustration with her was and that's something that I healed before, so I've gotten past. Was my mom was a kind, and it's not bad to want the best out of your kid, especially when you notice something. So she always knew
Mhm.
I was like smart and shit, but it was like this push for perfection almost sometimes.
Mhm.
And then with that going hand in hand of always hearing how much potential you had, it created this mental space of not feeling good enough ever.
Yeah.
Like,
Mhm.
I was like that. Like, I used to always feel like I just missed the mark. So
Mhm.
I did have to get through that, and I haven't fully talked to her about that, but it doesn't affect me the way that it used to. But I think it might be worth a conversation. So
I think so too,
um,
because it's gonna be healing for
yeah,
you, and maybe
yeah,
enlightening and healing for her too.
yeah, yeah, probably. And it's crazy too because you also hear, like, I've heard some of the shit she went through with my grandma and great grandma and stuff like that. So I just be like,
It's
well, shit.
learned.
I mean, there was
It's learned
almost no
behavior.
other way for you to, yeah. So there's
Yep.
almost no other way for you to raise me because
Yep.
this was how you were raised. What happened to you?
Nobody is, well, you got some people who
Um,
created some books, but I don't want to listen to what they're saying. We don't have personally catered books to us to say, this is going to be your child's temperament, this is going to be yours, and this is how y'all do that.
mhm,
You just got to do the best that you can with what knowledge you have. And I think sometimes it's really healing for adult children and parents to get together and talk that stuff out. It's definitely healing
yeah,
for the kid.
yeah,
And maybe it's a little bit freeing for the parent, for the kid to say, this is what happened. This is what you did. This is what I went through because of it, but I do forgive you.
mm,
And for them to say, I never saw it that way. I'm so sorry. You are more than enough. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? You
yeah.
never missed the mark. It's
And
healing
I've
all
and I've
around
had
for people who are
yeah,
accepting.
and I've had certain conversations like that with my mom to this point. Like, I can honestly say I can have those conversations. Like, we're to the point where we can really just talk, which I love.
Good, good, good,
Um,
good.
and I can talk to my dad, but the problem with my dad is he's too emotional
Mm,
at times. So it'll be like, the way he'll take it. And my mom used to do that. She's learned, like, me and my little brother had to get her out of it. Of like, oh, I guess I was just a terrible fucking mom. I just wasn't shit. No, 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 no,
yeah, I
no.
mean, especially if you come into
We
me
didn't
with a
say that.
list, you come to with a list. I'm like, what the? I would be offended too. I would hope that I would be able to. My leg and be shaking fast in a month. But why be boy? Yeah. So
Listen, the amount of times mom would have been like, so fuck it. I wasn't shit, huh? And I'm like, no, mom, we
exactly.
didn't say that.
It is hard for us, specifically Black women, to take constructive criticism, especially from
Y'all
people
work
that
so
we love
hard
so
too. It's
much.
shit we
So
don't see.
if you my lover
Yeah.
or if you my kid and you coming to me and telling me I hurt you or I traumatized you in any kind of way, the first thing we want to do is get defensive because it hurts.
Yeah.
But we don't know how to act. Can I cry about this? Should I be angry? And so our first jump to is usually anger. And so yeah. we have that bad, unfortunately.
That was my mama. Shit. She like again. She's gotten better, and I think at this
Good.
point I really appreciate and love the relationship I have with my mom now at this age, because we had a moment of when I was a teen, like when I graduated high school. Those couple years after, me and her were kind of like, I was, trying to find myself, and
Yeah.
she just felt like I was found, like, so it's like those years where things get a bit difficult, and then she also didn't like me being gay, so it was just like we were going through some things. So
And I
for where our
understand that.
relationship
I'm gonna
is
tell you right now,
now,
and I know it sounds crazy, but I do understand that when you are a Black mom, if
Yeah.
you know if there was a world that I could put where I know my son would be safe, then it's cool. Because you turn on the news and hear these people doing stuff to these young Black men just because they gay. They are extraordinary people, loving
Shit,
people,
just 'cause I'm
never
Black, so I'm Black
committed a
and gay.
crime. Yeah, exactly. So when you're like, okay, that's a double target. What am I gonna do? So you're scared for them. I don't appreciate people who say that's, you go into your Bible stuff and all of that. That's not cool. This is your kid. You love them unconditionally regardless. But I do understand that I think you should just live at home for the rest of your life. And I think that when I go out, you go out, I should go with you. I'll be that kind of, I think we should just always be together and that type of thing. Because this is a very ugly world for Black people. You add being queer or a part of the community, and who knows what's going on at that point.
Yeah. And I think it helps that I've always been the adventurous kid, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So my mom has kind of always had to accept that, in a sense of like, I was the only one who went away for college. I'm the only one who moved out of the state. Like at some point, especially when I first moved out of state, I mean, she was losing her mind. Like,
yeah, I'd have been there with you. I'd have been like, what apartment you in? You in A, I'm in B. Don't worry about it.
Oh yeah. She came like within the first few months. She's, I need to make sure, I need to see where you are. All that.
Yes.
So
put some cameras up. Mm-hmm.
It's definitely a protection thing, which I always appreciate. But she's had her moments. She's done the Bible thump for me before, and I'm like, girl, you don't even go to church like that. Stop. Like, you didn't even go to church home. Chill out. Like,
I should hit you with it, but I want grandkids. But she got enough kids that can give her grandkids.
Oh, she learned to stop asking me about that. She learned that. She was for a couple years, and I was like,
that is
I don't know
what you want.
Is eventually, like, she literally eventually she stopped because she realized, okay, and then now
she got enough kids. Like, I'm sure she'll be fine.
Yeah, and she swear on me sometimes. She's like, yeah, your ass don't need no kids.
See, at least you know. Thanks so much.
She learned. Shit.
I love it.
Well, I appreciate this so much, love.
It's always a time. I love doing shows with you.
Yes. Thank you. It's always a great time, and I feel like you're one of the people that helped me have my revelations. Like, it's some people that I think it's just a good time, and there's other people that I'll be talking to, and I'm like, wait, what you just say? Hold on, that's it. Like, and that's pretty much every time we talk.
Good, thank you.
But I knew this would be one that we can really kind of go into, so I appreciate that. Doing this, like, especially going to the third season, it's a different level of vulnerability for me. I'm not the kind of person to shy away from conversations, but I've never been the person to initiate those type of conversations. If that's where the conversation is going, or you have questions for me, I'm down, but I never started it. So doing this is a different level of vulnerability for me, and I appreciate you so much for doing this with me.
I appreciate you for trusting me with it. And I'm gonna guide you. We're gonna go. I'm gonna hear it. I'm gonna jump in.
You literally were like ran through, like,
and it helps that I've been through so much shit too. We've been through a lot of similar things. You know what I'm saying? I have about, how old are you? About 10, 11 years older than you?
Yeah.
You who?
I'm 32.
32, yeah. And I'll be 44 in December. So yeah, I've lived this. I've been where you are. I've gone. That's why I said, for me, Get that therapy for the childhood, even if you don't want to touch into other stuff. And eventually it might bleed into it. But the childhood stuff was the thing I couldn't overcome on my own. I just didn't have the
Yeah.
tools.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can see that.
Mhm.
Damn. Yeah. I mean, I want to keep. It's fine. Well, so when as always, when I have another topic, I will definitely let you know. I feel like this one was so perfect.
Okay.
Before
I'll
I
be there.
let you go, yes, I got you. And next time, I would fuck if I have to do it from a hospital bed. Let's link it up. Somebody grab my
We'll be fine.
microphone. Like, if
We'll
I
be
have a
fine.
name, a date, and time, we own it. Before I let you go, love, just let the people know, where to follow you, find you, shows, all that good stuff.
You can find me on YouTube at Opinionated Sense, Instagram opinionated_sense, and then sense like fragrance. So CSENTS. And you can find me on my podcast, which is on all streaming platforms. It's called One Man and One Woman, the podcast.
Hey, amazing, love it.
Thank you.
Well, yeah, I will hit you back up soon. I actually have a project that I was wondering. I'll reach out to you, but something I was
Okay.
wondering if you would mind being a part of. So I'll hit you up. But other than that, love,
Okay.
have a great night.
You too. Bye, babe.
Bye.
Myself busy, I ran around in circles, think I made